All right, Trace, happy Sunday. Welcome back. Episode 91. Connor, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you, Scotty.
And we're coming in Sunday, but I think that's good because we've got, in regards to the charts, guys, Connor and I, we had a good little chat just then, and there's not a lot to talk about, but we've got the G20, we've got a bit of Bitcoin to talk about, we've got MyFXBook, the trade sort of tracking software you can use online, we've got that. Briefly, just to start off, Connor brought this up. We've been talking Aussie dollar for a little while in the past few episodes of Trade Talk, and there's a potential breakout here, guys, that we just thought we'd bring up. So obviously, this is a technical play. We've got the G20 going on and everything like that. Who knows what will happen with US dollar strength? Monday, we'll see what happens. It could set up for Tuesday if it gets, over these highs here. And I'm a bear on the Aussie dollar really overall, but it's holding above that trend line, like you said, Connor, before we started recording. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bear too. We've talked about some of this serious fundamental analysis going on in Australia and with China and stuff, because we're joined at the hip. However, if you just want to take a swing trade, because that normally lasts, if you take a trade on the 4 hourly, by and large, it struggles to make it past a month, and very rarely will be make it past 2 months.
Yep.
You're normally looking at a couple of weeks. So, this is interesting. If it wants to break out maybe above 0.734, I'd really think that that's interesting, and it could be going further up in the short term.
Yep, that's right. That's true, guys. It could rally a little bit more. So pay a little bit of attention to that. There's a bit of space to the left as well. Once it clears, these recent highs, 73.4 area, there's a possibility it could go, 75 or so if if it just can potentially push higher through there. So be careful if you're shorting and you're still just adding to shorts or whatever. So it's looking right now a little bullish. So I guess what we can roll into now, I've got the G20 stuff up now. So just as a point of interest, guys, Connor and I aren't really fundamental traders, but this is a pretty significant event in regards to the trade war situation. So if you like trading the cable and a little bit, not so much the euro US dollar or whatever, or you're just sort of watching, the US dollar strength and what it's been doing, it's been very difficult to grab a nice, month-long trade with bullish strength on the US dollar because Trump and, it's been a real tit-for-tat thing. So I've got Forex Live up here now. We've got Melania Trump in the background with an hilarious, face here. That's a great photo. And we've got these two just, chatting. And we'll see what happens. Right now, there's no real strong commentary. They're still in the meeting or whatever. So tomorrow, we'll see what happens. And then it could shape up. December could really just flow really well because obviously for Connor and myself, hasn't been the greatest year. But that can happen sometimes in longer term trading. So I think I might use that as a segue to MyFXBook. So I'll bring that across here because I think it's good. And I don't know if you'd agree. I mean, obviously being open with yourself and honest is pretty key for trading because a lot of times, Connor, it's easy just to sort of push the bad stuff aside and go, yeah, that's cool. Let's just add more risk and get, aggressive with the trading to fight back with the market, which I think it just never works well. I mean, I know some people might say it can, but those people probably don't trade anymore, really.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we've all said here, it's a reversion to the mean. Your trading will always revert back to what your win and loss ratio is. And whether you've got a 1.1, 1.3, 1.5, risk able to get 1.5 off every trade on average or something like that, then you'd be looking to be a good profitable trader. What people can fall into the trap of is, like you said, pushing stuff to the side, or when the times get good, they won't admit to themselves they just got into a lucky trade or something like that, and they've decided that they're real hot shots now and they know how to read the market, and then they'll get their fingers burnt when they realise they don't. So it all comes back down to numbers, basically.
Yeah, that's true, and then that's right. It points you in the direction of what's working, what's not, so because there's obviously a lot of systems out there that can make you money, but you have to be able to deal with times when they're not quite getting you the winning trades, but you're still following the rules, then it's okay. But when you start deviating a little bit, you want to be able to identify, I'm doing that differently to the rules to try and make money, but I'm not trading well. And then you can get into some bad habits, and you can sort of, take trades that aren't there really, and you end up forcing stuff, and it becomes, it can get pretty bad. So that's something that MyFX book is good for. I posted something on LinkedIn a little while ago. I think it was Saturday morning. So it's good just to see what's going on, especially if the month has been pretty active with a few trades. You can see, later on, like reflecting, maybe that wasn't quite, the best sort of trade. When you reflect what you do and you're back testing and everything, and you can say, well, maybe next time let's not do that. So that's why this week I hadn't really I hadn't traded, and I did a little bit of back testing in the start of the week. And it's good to do that because sometimes no trade is the best trade. And it looks like, though, this week, even I had a look at gold and silver as well, kind of like before we started. I forgot about to mention it, but that's not doing much either. It's just all pretty.
No, silver looked exciting. Thought that it could have touched the bottom again. Getting under that $14 US.
Yeah.
But it popped back up, so I'm not really overly interested in seeing that. Doesn't have any sort of major thing going on with it.
Yeah. So it was. That's right. I remember that now. I did. It did.
I thought it could have been hitting lower lows, and then once it's closing below 13, maybe it's going towards 12 one day. But one day soon. But it's not doing much at the moment.
Yeah, right at the start. Yeah, it did look like. So look, there's some potential. But again, I mean, for the guys who are trading the higher time frames, you have to sort of think about it like the professionals, and they might not trade for a week or two or a month or something. If it's not satisfying their rules, you sort of have to be sensible, which can be frustrating. But that's why backtesting's handy, and you want to have a hobby or something. You don't just want to be, watching the charts all the time. That ends up, you end up doing something you probably shouldn't with the trading because you're just sort of bored and you're just impulsive. But speaking of impulsive and crazy stuff, I've got the Bitcoin chart up here as well. This has been something that's so Connor and I, we don't trade Bitcoin, but it's something worth talking about because obviously it's a trading channel, and not right now. It doesn't look like there's a lot of interest, but back in this time last year, wasn't it? It really was absolute free for all. Everyone was just, everyone and their mother was involved in let's trade this, and it was tempting, honestly, but it was screamed, it was just a complete bubble. So it's
down 85% for the year. So
yeah, and it's and for it, people are talking about the cycles and stuff, but it's just going to be very.
I think it might. I think Bitcoin's day. Yeah, it's hard to tell. If it's done, it would have taken the trust off a lot of mum and pop traders.
Yeah.
So if there's any trust in what it is, what is it? It's a speculative asset. Doesn't really have any sort of intrinsic worth.
Yeah. No.
And a lot of people got stung on it, and they've seen what's happened. It's gone down 85% in a year. It's a new sort of asset on the market. It's not something like gold that's stood the test of time for 5,000 years. People trading.
Yeah.
So will it come back from here? Will anyone ever get any confidence in it? I don't know. I think it's still got a good sort of use for terrorists and people on the dark web and things
yeah, it does. There is.
So it will have some value. Whether or not it's going to be the 100,000, 20,000 that people think it will be, time will tell.
That is true. That's it, guys. So be very, very careful if you're thinking about buying a dip. Probably really, unless you don't care about that money.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. Yeah, people like to dip buy because
That's the worst bit of technical analysis you could ever give someone. Buy the dip.
or what do they call it? Fade the. Yeah, people like to fade it, so it'll be falling, and then I mean that's terrible, especially when it comes to this because I mean it just blew through 5,000 and went through 6,000, and then it went as low as 34.21 is the low here I've got on the weekly chart for in November when it plowed in through 6,000. So you got to be very very careful. If you don't care about your money, then okay, but we can't really recommend that. So, but I've just seen the time; it's nearly 11 minutes, Connor. Was there anything else you sort of want to touch upon?
I think that's at the moment not much going on the charts for me. So
Yeah.
I'm posting a little bit of back testing, turn it on every now and then to see what's going on, but I'm not really watching the charts every hour or so, making myself crazy over it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's right. Well, again, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll come with another update next week. We'll see what happened with the G20 if the charts wanted to move in a healthy fashion. We'll see. We'll see what happens with all that. But again, thanks for joining us, Connor.
Thank you.
And thanks, guys, and have a great trading week as well.